Hello, everyone. Welcome to Story Time. This is a program for the Sandal Public Library that we will post weekly to our YouTube channel. This is the first story time of May, and today we're going to be talking about Mother's Day because Sunday is Mother's Day. You know what Mother's Day is? It's a special day we set aside to show our moms or whoever's acting like your mom. It could be, you could have two moms. You could have a stepmom and a mom. You could have a grandma that takes care of you. Maybe you don't have a mom and you have dads. This book that I'm going to read has a dad in the book that's taking care of his baby. So let's switch the camera. This book is going to be about the love between a mom and her child. You should really show your mom that you love her every day, right? Let's see. This one is a book that someone gave to me when I had my first son, and it's called I Love You Forever, written by Robert Munch, and illustrations, the drawings, are by Sheila McGraw. This is a Firefly book. Let me pick that camera up a little bit so you'll be able to actually see pictures. There, how's that? A mother held her newborn baby and rocked him very slowly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she held him, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that baby grew, and he grew and he grew and he grew. And he grew until he was 2 years old, and he ran all around the house, and he pulled all the books off of the shelves, and he pulled all the food out of the refrigerator, and he took his mother's watch and he flushed it down the toilet. Sometimes his mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. Does your mom say that about you? But at nighttime, when that 2-year-old was quiet, she opened the door to his room and she crept across the floor and she looked up over the side of his bed. And if he was really asleep, she would pick him up and she'd rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that little boy grew, and he grew and he grew and he grew, and he grew until he was 9 years old, and he never wanted to come in for dinner, and he never wanted to take a bath. And when Grandma visited, he always said bad words. Sometimes his mother wanted to sell him to the zoo. But at night, when he was asleep, his mother quietly opened the door to his room, crept across the floor, and looked up over the side of his bed. And if he was really asleep, she picked up that 9-year-old boy and she rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that boy grew, and he grew and he grew and he grew. And he grew until he was a teenager. And he had strange friends, and he wore strange clothes, and he listened to strange music. Sometimes his mother felt like she lived in a zoo. But at night, when that teenager was asleep, his mother opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of the bed. And if he was really asleep, she picked up that great big boy and she rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that teenager grew, and he grew and he grew and he grew, and he grew until he was a grown-up man. And he left home and got a house across town. But sometimes on dark nights, the mother got into her car and she drove across town. And if all the lights in her son's house were out, she opened his bedroom window and she crept across the floor and she looked up over the side of his bed. And if that great big man was really asleep, she picked him up and she rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." Well, now that mother, she got older, and she got older and older and older. And one day she called up her son and said, "I need you to come see me because I am very old and very sick." So her son came to see her. And when he came to the door, she tried to sing the song. She sang, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always." But she couldn't finish because she was very old and very sick. So that son went to his mother and he picked her up and rocked her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he sang the song, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be." When the son came home that night, he stood for a long time at the top of the stairs. And then he went into the room where his very new baby daughter was sleeping. He picked her up in his arms and very slowly rocked her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while he rocked her, he sang, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." That is one of my all-time favorite books. It's not actually about Mother's Day, but I think it's a beautiful book that shows the love between a mom and her children, and the children and their mom. Let's read this fun book. This is a book that talks about how different moms can be. The Trouble with Mom by Babette Cole. This is a Coward McCain Incorporated book. The trouble with Mom is the hats that she wears. You see what's on her hat? She's got a snake on her hat. At first, the other kids give me funny looks when she takes me to school. Can you see how they're getting to school? They're not riding a book or walking. They're flying on a broom. That's different, huh? She didn't seem to get along with the other parents. There's the parent sitting on a bench, and then she walks by. What does she do? Whoops. They kept asking me where my dad was. Mom says he's staying put until he stops going bowling every night. There's a sign on this jar where the dad is. Pickled husband. Well, I guess she didn't like him going bowling every night. My teacher asked us if our moms would bake cupcakes for a PTA meeting. Well, my mom made some. It's pretty green. I wonder what she put in those cupcakes. They were a disaster, but the kids thought they were brilliant. See the worm in that one? And the frog? They asked if they could come to my house and play. I wasn't sure what they'd think about it. It's Quite a house, huh? Sort of like a castle. Their parents weren't sure that they wanted them to come, but they came anyway. They really liked our pets. Some interesting pets. They met my granny. My mom behaved very well, and we all went wild. Quite a snake he's playing with. But then their parents turned up, and they ruined everything. They told Mom off. My mom was really sad. I guess the parents didn't like her playing with the snake, huh? My new friends were fed up, and they said, your mom's okay, but we're not allowed to come to your house anymore. Then one day, the school caught on fire. We thought we were going to be toast, but Mom beat all the fire engines there. Look at, there's Mom on her broom, and what's she pulling? Some storm clouds. She put out the fire before anybody else arrived. The parents couldn't thank her enough. Now we get to go wild at my house all the time. It's a cute little book. Makes you think that just because somebody's a little different than you are, doesn't mean they're bad, right? This is a library book, A Mother for Choco by Keiko Kazza. Remember, we talked about if there's only one name on the book, that means that that person wrote all the words and drew the pictures. This is a Paper Star book by the Putnam and Glossop Group. Choco was a little bird who lived all alone. He wished he had a mother, but who could his mother be? One day, he set off to find one. First, Choco met Mrs. Giraffe. Oh, Mrs. Giraffe, you are yellow like me. Can you be my mother? I'm sorry, sighed Mrs. Giraffe, but I don't have wings like you. Next, Choco met Mrs. Penguin. Oh, Mrs. Penguin, he cried, you have wings just like me. Are you my mother? I'm sorry, sighed Mrs. Penguin, but I don't have big round cheeks like you. Then Mrs. Choco met Mrs. Walrus. Oh, Mrs. Walrus, he cried, you have big round cheeks like me. Are you my mother? Now look, grumped Mrs. Walrus, I don't have striped feet like you, so don't bother me. Uh-oh. No matter where Choco searched, he couldn't find any mother who looked just like him. He looks kind of sad. When Choco saw Mrs. Bear picking apples, he knew that she couldn't be his mother because Mrs. Bear didn't look anything like him at all. Choco was so sad that he started to cry. Mommy, Mommy, I need a mommy. Mrs. Bear came running to see what was the matter. As she listened to Choco's story, she said, oh dear, if you had a mommy, what would she do? I'm sure she would hold me, sobbed Choco. You mean like this? Asked Mrs. Bear, and she held Choco very tightly. Yes, and I'm sure she would kiss me too. Like this? Asked Mrs. Bear, and she lifted Choco and gave him a big kiss. Yes, And I'm sure she would sing and dance with me to cheer me up, said Choco. Like this? Asked Mrs. Bear. And they sang and they danced together. Look at, she even put her purse on her head. When they stopped to rest, Mrs. Bear turned to Choco and said, Choco, maybe I could be your mother. You? Choco cried. But you aren't yellow, and you don't have wings or big round cheeks or striped feet like me. Oh my goodness, said Mrs. Bear. That would make me look very funny. Choco thought that was funny too, and laughed and laughed. Well, said Mrs. Bear, my other children are waiting for me at home. Why don't you join us for apple pie, Choco? Apple pie sounded wonderful to Choco, so off they went. When they arrived, Mrs. Bear's other children rushed to greet her. Choco, said Mrs. Bear, meet Hippie, Allie, and Piggy. I am their mother too. The sweet smell of apple pie and the sound of laughter soon filled Mrs. Bear's house. After their delicious treat, Mrs. Bear gave all her children a big bear hug. And Choco was very happy that his new mommy looked just the way she did. You don't always look just like your mom, do you? This is a brand new book that the library just got. Like Miss Kathy hasn't even put any stickers on it. I'm going to read it for Mother's Day and then she'll put it into circulation. It'll be on the shelf in the children's room with the new books. What Not to Give Your Mom on Mother's Day by Martha Simpson, and the illustrations are by Jana Christie. This is a brand new book. It just came in. The publisher for this book is Two Lions. This is a bigger book. Let's make sure you can see all the pages. Mother's Day is coming soon. What should you give your mom? Well, that depends. But here is my advice on what not to give her. Do not give her a bucket of big fat worms. You wouldn't give that to your mom, would you? Well, unless she's a bird. Tweet, tweet, plump, juicy worms. If your mom was a bird, she'd like that gift, wouldn't she? Do not give her a beat up shoe. Unless she's a dog. Arf, arf, a new chew toy. I like that. Do not give her dead flies. Well, unless she's a spider. Yum, yum. Spiders would like flies. Do not give her a rotting log. Oh, look at Mom's face. Well, unless she's a salamander. Slide, slip, slide, just right for laying eggs. It's kind of a fun book. Do not give her a block of salt. Well, unless she's a deer. Deer actually like salt blocks. I think too much for them is not good for them, though. Do not give her a pile of sticks. What would like a pile of sticks for Mother's Day? Unless she's a beaver. Slap, slap, sticks to build my dam, says Mother Beaver. Oh, do not give her a mound of termites. Unless she's an aardvark. Aardvarks do like termites. They like to eat them. So if you were a baby aardvark and you gave your mother a mound of termites, your mom would probably be really happy. Do not give her a puddle of mud. Unless she's a pig. Pigs like to cool off in the cool mud. Also helps bugs from biting their skin. Do not give your mom mosquitoes. Unless she's a bat. Bats like to eat mosquitoes, don't they? We like bats to eat mosquitoes. But there is something you could give your mom. A big hug and a kiss, and I love you. That's a great little book. Talks about Mother's Day, right? Let's switch our camera. There you go. So I hope you have a wonderful story time with me today. I hope you had a wonderful story time with me today. And I hope you have a lovely Mother's Day on Sunday. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.